She kicked him out. Immediately. No more. No talking. One strike. You're out. And what she did was to put her boy ahead of her boyfriend. Those of you who hear, I hope you hear. Now, Dr. King graduated from high school when he was 15. He took advantage of every course, what we would consider advanced placement courses. He also took college courses while he was in high school. And then he went into college. And he went to the top of the line. He earned his doctorate when he was still in his early 20s. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he did not become from young Martin to Dr. King by partying all night and coming drunk to class the next day. Martin did not go to the park looking for somebody. Martin did not ditch class. Martin did not make excuses. That's why he became Dr. King. If he had been ditching class, if he had been partying all night and staggering the next day, we would not be talking about him. He would be a nobody. He would not have been ready for his role, and all of the tremendous accomplishments that would come his way would not have happened. There would be no Voting Rights Act. There would be no Civil Rights Act. There would be no Housing Rights Act. There would be no I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. We would not be here today. And God knows what kind of America this would be if Dr. King decided to ditch class. What we can do is be thankful that in the choices he had to make, he chose the right choice. The greatest tragedy of a wasted life are all the things that might have been. The young people, I want you to think about that. Some old people too. Nelson Mandela could have chosen to have given up and felt sorry for himself during his 27 years as a political prisoner. Instead, he chose to stay mentally alive, mentally active, communicating frequently with the outside world, even learning the language of his jailers, the Afrikaners. He chose to understand them rather than turn bitter against them. When he left prison, Mandela was focused on leadership, ready to become president of South Africa. Following the model and the example set by Dr. King, he made a choice towards peace and reconciliation rather than bloody revenge. He put his time in captivity towards continuous learning and never let his intellect get distracted. Now, we have a lot of students in the audience. Now, how many of you are in elementary school K through 8? Raise your hand. K through 8. That's kindergarten. K through 8. Well, I know you're there. I saw it. Don't hide. How many of you are in high school? That's the 9 through 12. Or maybe 13 now. Okay, very good. Now, what are you learning in school? I want you to think about that. Confession time. That's all right. Has anybody been in detention? Well, don't raise your hand on that. And I want to ask if you've been in detention. Judge Stanley is here, and he will take care of that. But nonetheless, I know I have teacher friends that only have to deal with many students in detention, but in juvenile probation. In fact, there are so many kids in juvenile probation that there are too many students for one classroom. There are so many. You have to ask yourselves, is that the best you can do? Detention, probation, which will lead to jail and prison at some point? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is not where you belong. That's what you should say to yourself. I do not belong here. I do not belong in that situation. Take pride in excellence. Challenge the teachers by being better than they ever imagined. Make them work harder, not by misbehavior, but by going beyond what is expected of you. Not only doing your work, but going beyond that, impressing them with your brilliance and creativity, which are surely there. Do not sit back and sleepwalk through school. Take your passion and make it happen. The purpose of education is not, or at least should not be, simply to get a job. The purpose of an education is to create a whole person, well-rounded, capable of handling the broad issues of life, an intelligent citizen who is ready to participate in the affairs of his city, state, and country, and even the world. To keep hope alive depends on the youth of this world. Late Senator Robert F. Kennedy said, "This world demands the quality of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of the imagination, courage over fear, adventure over a life at ease." I talk to the kids, I'm going to talk to the parents. Parents, is your home a school away from school? Does learning in math, science, history, and geography, spelling, and grammar happen under your roof? Is your television and your computer devoted as much to education as to entertainment? Don't blame the teacher for failing to do his or her job if you have not done yours. Don't blame the man for becoming a thug if you were nothing but a slug. Get involved in the system, not just as a critic, but as partners. I think locally, District 1 needed parents and kids to raise funds, keep sports alive, keep extracurricular activities alive. Now they did this because a dedicated small group of parents stepped forward. But how much better it would have been if most of those who benefited from the programs stepped forward and participated. How much lighter that load would be. And the problem, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is not over. You pay attention to the state budget. You pay attention to the local budget. Calamity is not gone away. Calamity is still around the corner. So those of us who are in that system need to be ready to devote time and energy to help the school district. Don't sit back and let somebody else do it for you. Be part of the action. Dr. King said, and in fact this quote is in the program, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter." So ask yourselves, are you silent about something that matters so much? Don't break into a business. Learn how to start a business. Don't rob a house. Learn how to buy a house. Don't rob the hope and security somebody else has a right to enjoy. And don't associate with those who do. If those old friends are dragging you down, then it's time to get you some new friends. Don't insult yourself and your community by destroying and vandalizing. Get the respect that comes from building, creating, and being able to say to anyone, "I did that." Dr. King spoke of this kind of pride. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets, even as Michelangelo painted, even as Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. Do you want to be a blessing to those around you, or a curse? Are we bringers of hope or despair? Do we make our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, and our children proud of us or ashamed? Lastly, I want us to see that our presence on earth does matter. that we have more power than we think. If you think you can't do anything, you won't. But we truly have more power around us than we appreciate. The book of Proverbs tells us, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What I'd like to do for a moment to illustrate this, I'm going to share a story from a movement I was in and why it worked as well as it did. The Phoenix Union High School District Board had voted to close 4 high schools in our 11-school system. These were Phoenix Union, North, East, and West High Schools. All were in the center of Phoenix. Budget and declining enrollment were the stated reasons, but there were those of us who did not accept that explanation and sought better answers. We would be led by a sitting Phoenix City Council member, Calvin Good, and his wife, Georgia, and a recent past City Council member, Lucinda Gutierrez. Calvin and Georgia were our moral leaders. Rosie was our tactical general. We tried to convince the board to seek alternatives to closure. They said no. We instigated a budget override to give the district time to consider alternatives, and we won in spite of the board. They still weren't interested. They told us no. We decided to overthrow the board, and we ran a slate against them. We won a 3-2 majority. Then one of our people turned against us, and we became a 3-2 minority. We were back where we started. At this point, everybody was tired and giving up what was seen as inevitable, except for me and my friend Ray. We would not give up. We would not surrender because the stakes were too high. So with a secret ally, the principal of Phoenix Union High School, we tried to set up a meeting of parents from all the affected schools, all of the closing schools, 4 schools. And this was on the day before internet. This was not email. This was regular mail. So we had like a mailing list, and we sent them mail out to people's homes. That's how we did that. So time would pass as we did it. The first time, 10 parents showed up. That is not enough. The second